Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Evanthia, and next to me is Des. He is my husband, and we present Stranger Than Fiction, which is a channel where we want to bring you truth and dissect news and events that are happening across the world so that you can understand them better.
Well, truth is stranger than fiction, and in the stories that we'll be covering, we will show you that this world that we live in brings us stranger than fiction events continuously.
Definitely does. So we're actually bringing you three different stories today, just short and sweet. We'll put the links in the description so you can research it yourself, which I think is very important. The first
Please
one
research, yes.
The first one is about a AI that's being developed that is starting to delve into the fact that artificial intelligence or robots, obviously, we know they can't feel emotions the way humans can exactly. But one thing that is very difficult for AI to do is to taste. But now there are robots that are being trained to become chefs, to put it simply. And it says here AI engineers at Cambridge University trained it to test for saltiness. And now the purpose of these robots is to take over your domestic duties at home, which gives you more time to work, and then also to replace chefs at restaurants as well. So this AI robot, which uses artificial intelligence, can taste for saltiness as well as for the balance of ingredients.
But wow, so the robot is literally going to come into your house and I'll be your new chef. I think there's tons of people that
Well,
want to order something like
you would purchase the robot. I'm sure
that as a product.
this will probably only be affordable to the extremely wealthy. I, for one, would not mind.
I'm just thinking I've done a lot of cooking.
Yes.
For a robot to actually be able to fulfill all those actions.
Well, another thing they say is that the robot can cook according to your taste. So you'd input the fact that you maybe like Italian food more or spicy food or whatever, and then it would curate the meals for your taste.
How many years is this technology away? Do they actually specify in the article?
No, it doesn't. It's very brief, and I actually found this on the World Economic Forum. And actually,
Oh my goodness.
if you
Okay.
haven't yet gone and followed World Economic Forum, please do. We're probably going to bring you a lot of information from that page. But it'll be very insightful to see where billions of dollars are being spent on the progress of humanity.
Well, Klaus Schwab wants to progress humanity to the point, as he famously said, where you own nothing and you'll be happy. So maybe the World Economic Forum will own these robots and then just send them to your house and say, you shall eat this tonight according to my taste.
I don't think I mean, that would actually be a nice version of what could happen. I think this is only for a
Explain to
very
me what is worse than
this technology, I believe, is only for a very elite group of people that have extreme wealth. The rest of us will be
that.
left.
Oh, the rest of us is cockroach and rat.
We'll be left to survive like Mad Max.
Sewer rats.
Exactly.
Oh, goodness.
So it's not looking good for the future of humanity. And I also think, cooking as a mother that works with children and a homeschool, cooking is a chore, but it's also thoroughly enjoyable and it's great. It's a great thing to do with family. Imagine this technology 3 generations later. Humans will completely lose the art of making a simple meal, never mind a whole lot of other things.
Yeah, I think that is quite an important angle. That if humans lose the ability to cook and they actually imagine a baby born like during the COVID pandemic where babies got used to humans with masks on for a period of almost 2 years, where now a baby grows up and they're used to a robot cooking food for you. In other words, they don't realize that parents could actually have those skills. And in 2 generations, no one will be able to make food. I've never thought of that before, actually.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think this is where what's happening in the world of technology and the advancement of artificial intelligence can end the human race as we know it.
Absolutely. That is definitely a concern that I have, that AI specifically is being touted as the way to immortality instead of humans just being able to live forever. That artificial intelligence will become you. eventually.
And that's one thought I had. I'll share this link to this little clip in the description. But when it spoke about how AI can't taste, humans can do that well, but AI can't do it well. When it comes to the concept of downloading your or my consciousness into a robot that can live forever, it's this quest for immortality. So perhaps on one hand, this technology is there to justify making your life easier so you can work more. And on the other hand, it's actually paving the way to attempt to create human immortality.
But how do you actually convince someone that you being dead and just your mind living on in something, that is immortality?
Well, the advisor to Carl Schwab does not believe in the soul. And I think many of these people in the
Okay.
science industry don't believe in the human soul. They just believe in a combination of your emotions and your biology.
So to them, that'll literally be
It'll be you.
yes.
They believe it's going to be you. So,
That penny has only dropped right now.
oh no. We're literally in a fight against people who don't believe humans have a soul and people who do believe humans have a soul.
Wow.
Scary, hey? Scary times we live in.
Is there anything else interesting from that article? That's quite frightening, actually. And we
Well,
just started with a robot that can taste. We will have to wait and see how AI develops and what happens with these robots, and we'll probably bring you the information as it unfolds, or as you suck it out of the World Wide Web.
the next up is a sobering one, and it's related to the last story we'll be covering. And the headline here is also again from the World Economic Forum. And the reason I'm focusing on the WEF is because this is not covered in mainstream news at all. In mainstream news, you get fed the distractions, the things that you have no power over, and things that don't matter, things that are just symptomatic of a bigger issue. And things that are actually impacting humanity as a whole are not covered in the mainstream media.
I've actually listened to a woman that claimed that information from the World Economic Forum that she put out on her social media sites, that it was not only removed from her sites, but then from the World Economic Forum platforms.
Oh, interesting. Well, let's see what happens now. So this is under the heading energy transition. What are warm banks and why are so many opening
Warm banks.
in the UK?
What on earth is
Warm
that?
banks. So we know Britain or Europe went through extremely cold temperatures very recently, and it was quite a crisis because
I think it's ongoing.
it's ongoing. But
They've just headed into winter now.
and I think what's happened, well, we'll explore it in the article. We can very easily fall into similar things across the world in every single country where you're not allowed to use energy or energy becomes just too expensive that now you rely on the government to help you survive. And it says here, warm banks are spaces where people can go to heat up for free if they can't afford to turn on the heating in their home. Charities, councils, community groups, and businesses across the UK are all opening up warm banks this winter. It comes after the UK raised its energy price cap by 80% on the 1st of October, putting the average UK energy bill up to £3,549 a year.
That's a lot of money. If you times it by 20, wow, that's rough.
The government is offering some money off bills and is looking to accelerate domestic low-carbon energy production to try and bring down costs in the long term. It says, yeah, I hate the cold. I can handle being hungry but not being cold. I just hate the thought of people sitting freezing. Those are the words of Kenneth Gibson, who recently told his local newspaper why he's joined thousands of other people across the UK in opening up warm banks.
Do they get money for this? Or is it like,
not quite clear.
is it government sponsored?
It's, I think, just encouraged because we don't want people in their homes to use power to have a high
Oh
carbon
my
footprint.
goodness. So you literally go to this place where you sit, like an internet cafe
It can
back
be a
in the day,
library or a restaurant,
where,
a
where,
public
where you can now
space.
sit where it's warm.
You can get warm.
So there's just more people in one space that's been heated up by one or two or three heaters, where in your home you would actually put more heaters on.
Maybe in every room.
Because I'm trying to technically understand this. Because that would make sense.
To a degree, it does make sense. Everyone saves, I guess. The other
Except
thing,
the fact that you now have to leave your home,
you need to leave
go
your home.
somewhere else,
You get cold leaving
transition
home.
past.
You use a bus or a car or I don't know what to go to that place. So it's very hypocritical at this stage. Warm banks have also launched in libraries, art galleries, community centers, and other public venues. They're also mapped. So you can go Google warm bank near me.
This also sounds very much like what you do with things like Uber and renting out rooms in your house.
Airbnb,
That
yeah.
whole mentality of everything belongs to everyone in the end, because that's where the WF wants it to head to,
You'll earn
where you
nothing and
don't
be
earn.
happy.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's very
Not even a heater
not even a heater,
or an
nothing.
aircon.
And the idea with covering these stories is to bring you all these little snippets. You'll often get them on your timeline so fragmented. When you bring them together, it paints a very somber picture of the future. What are warm banks? Warm banks are spaces where people can go to heat up for free if they can't afford to turn on the heating in the home this
Okay,
winter.
so it is for free.
They've been organised by charities, councils, and community groups across the UK to help people struggling. With the surging cost of energy, over 50% of councils in England and Wales are involved in setting up warm banks or supporting groups who are doing so. Some businesses are helping too.
Okay, so this is not government forking out money for something like this. It's basically communities trying to get together to survive what the government has done to them.
It's actually a very, very clever marketing campaign because now you're drawing people to your shop, to your bakery, or to your coffee shop, or to your bookstore. And now they'll feel obligated. What's a cup of coffee compared to your electricity bill?
Yeah, I don't know where this is headed, but I do know that we need to keep an eye on this and see where this goes in the end. I see a map with lots
Yes.
of red dots all
The
over.
red dots are there because more than 3,000 warm banks are listed on the website of the Warm Welcome campaign, which is organizing community responses to the cost of living crisis. Online map pictured below shows just how widespread the need for warm banks is winter. And you can go open up that link and see exactly where it is. You can't see England. I mean, you can't
Yeah,
see
this
Britain.
is red.
It's just red. Only Ireland has one. Maybe they'll come to the party later.
So at the moment, just remember you can go and click on this link in the description below this video, as well as in the first comment. So you can go and read this for yourself, and just see this England, a non-existing England, because 3,000 warm locations are being shown. That's actually quite hilarious.
Definitely. Well,
It's not hilarious for the people that actually need to make use of one of these, because I can just imagine what it must be like to feel cold, because shelter is a very important part of staying alive, and if your shelter can't provide heat, you'll die. You can die within one night. Where with food you can stay alive for an extended period of time, depending on how many fat deposits you have. I'm sure I'll be fine for a month. But with regards to temperature, this is a serious thing for life and death.
especially if you have a baby or you're really old and vulnerable.
Yes.
You definitely need to stay warm.
Yeah.
So it's a crime against humanity that electricity prices have gone up by 80%. So if you go and look at what's happening in the world, what trends the most is climate change and gender equality. Those are the two hot topics.
So what is the point of them saying that we can just put in solar panels wherever we want, or wind turbines wherever we want? I suppose the wind turbines are doing great, but the solar panels not so great. So I think that's where the problem comes in for England specifically. Other countries might follow suit with this idea.
I think so. The other thing is the climate crisis movement is focusing very much on energy, what we use for energy, to create energy, and how we use energy as consumers.
The focus is also on CO2, big time.
Yeah, the focus is that at the moment. I worry for the day the focus becomes our water.
Mm.
Because housing, land is already, that right is already removed from us. Food is already controlled by corporations and
Yes.
commercial farmers. Energy is now being very much controlled via governments, via rising the cost of the prices. What's left on that list of things you
Water,
need?
I think, is the big
Water
one.
is the next one. And they'll really, I believe, wait till we're really down and really, really just despondent over, the crisis in the world.
I always like to specify the they. Can you specify who they are?
Well, the World Economic Forum is leading the charge in influencing governments across nations to change their policies in line with the United Nations Agenda 21 and 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which basically means human beings need to have as small of an impact as possible on the earth itself.
Okay. Yeah, I think that puts it into a nutshell, I suppose.
And there's many stakeholders involved in all of those
A
organizations.
lot. And you can just look at the World Economic Forum meetings, what they discuss there. And I would encourage everyone to do that, to understand what's being decided for you. And I was fascinated when Klaus Schwab actually said that when he spoke to the people at the forum, that we are the people that need to decide how the world moves forward. There's nothing democratic about that idea, or that other people could actually have a say. I wonder who or what they think we are.
I always go back. I mean, my instinct or my first reaction is to try to figure out what kind of childhoods did these people have, because any normal human would have some kind of compassion for the next person and value freedom to a degree at least.
How is this not stranger than
Stranger
fiction?
than fiction.
Absolutely.
It is definitely stranger than fiction. The next one is kind of aligned because it's got to do with the COP27 meeting. What is COP27? I don't know if you want to quickly cover that.
Well, it's a meeting of many countries where leaders from around the world, various organizations, heads of state come together.
And they did so this month, November.
And they had discussions around the climate. Once again, what you said earlier is one of the main talking points around the world
So it's
right now.
important to note that the United Nations has many, many, many auxiliary groups. And the United Nations Climate Change Conference is one of those groups. And COP27 is a meeting that involves all the member countries of the specific UN group. And they met very recently. And then, interestingly, I'll read this for you quickly. There was an activist from Egypt who traveled 20,000 kilometers and arrived at the COP27 meeting.
That is far.
But not just that, he traveled on an electric scooter, and on his way he stopped and he just created awareness for the climate change crisis happening on our planet currently.
Okay. Now, this makes me think back on Greta Thunberg traveling across the Atlantic
Yes.
to the United States to attend the meeting
I
there
thought that
at
as
the
well.
time. And, she was a young girl at that stage, a minor, traveling with some dude on a yacht. And, I was thinking, who was taking the footage while this thing is sailing at that speed? There had to be massive support infrastructure for this, helicopters, etc., while they are traveling. And where's her parents? I just ask these questions. I'm a parent myself. I have daughters, and I have to ask myself, what parents would allow a young girl to be on this yacht with another man? In this case, I'm thinking again, massive support teams, production, script, cameras, and everything else to go with it. I mean, and this is without me having seen anything. 20,000 kilometers. That's almost going right around the world. So that's a massive distance. It's an electric scooter. It needs support to be plugged in. You can't tell me he put up solar panels along the way and actually got it charged sufficiently, and then he takes his solar panels with him. That's not what happened. I'm watching the video in silence now, and this is a huge production. This is what I see. And because of that, this is not an individual that decided he's going to travel that distance. Just like Greta Thunberg, it's a person that is ideal to bring a specific story to the world. And I'm sure people will not even think of the production value that went into this.
Absolutely. Well, we'll put the promo video, because that's what it is, a promo video, in the description as well. It's a 30-day journey that he took to COP27 to spread awareness for climate change.
You say USAID. I see USAID.
Absolutely, it was orchestrated by USAID. USAID is everywhere, and I
They
think
keep on coming up,
we'll
don't they?
also focus on them a lot in our videos, along with World Economic Forum. That's all we have for you today. We'll definitely put all the links in the descriptions, and then we're bringing you another interesting one tomorrow.
Thank you so much for watching, and remember that if you love this content, if you love this format, please subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon so you can get notifications for future videos, and please remember to watch the other content on this channel and our 2-hour live stream where we covered what happened during 2022. And then please share this information with your friends and family.